Have you ever felt like the more you try to step into your purpose, the more silence surrounds you? Like you were born with a fire in your spirit, but the moment you speak, storms rise out of nowhere. Have you ever wondered why every time you announce a dream, it crumbles, or why your greatest revelations seem to attract the deepest attacks? Listen carefully, chosen one. What you are experiencing is not coincidence, and it is not punishment. It is protection. Divine, intentional, sacred protection. Because there is a truth inside you that heaven has sealed. A purpose so heavy, so radiant, that if released too soon, it would not be received. It would be resisted. And that's exactly why God has hidden you. Not because you are weak, but because the weight you carry is too powerful for eyes not prepared to see. What you carry is holy, and holy things are never thrown to the crowd. You are not late. You are not forgotten. You are not lost. You have been separated, shielded, and silenced, not by the enemy, but by God. Not to suppress you, but to secure you. And if you feel this deep in your bones, if something inside you knows this message was meant for your spirit, leave a comment right now. I was hidden for a reason. This isn't just a video. It's a confirmation. And if your soul knows it, seal it in the comments below. And before we go deeper, if this is the kind of truth your soul has been longing for, if your spirit is waking up even as you hear these words, then subscribe right now. Not because of me, but because you're ready to walk in alignment with every hidden thing God is about to reveal. Because today, what was kept in the shadows will finally rise. You weren't called to be seen. You were called to be sealed. There is a moment in the life of every chosen one when the heavens go silent, not because God has stopped speaking, but because he's now preparing you in a language deeper than words. And in this stillness, many panic. They confuse invisibility with insignificance. They equate silence with punishment. But hear this. When God marks you, he doesn't announce you. He hides you. He pulls you back. He draws you inward, not to erase you from the map, but to deepen your roots in the soil of his presence. Because the weight of the glory that will rest upon you cannot be sustained by shallow foundations. And so he silences you. He blinds the world from seeing you, because the promise on your life is not yet ready to be handled by public hands. This is why your voice has felt like a whisper in a world of noise. This is why every time you tried to speak about your dream, resistance rose up. This is why relationships fell apart, doors closed, platforms disappeared, because your calling was never meant to be broadcasted before it was built. The enemy doesn't attack noise. He attacks potential. And the potential in you is so divine, so disruptive to the darkness, that heaven had no choice but to veil you in secrecy. Not to diminish you, but to develop you without distraction. Don't confuse the cave with a coffin. Don't confuse the silence with suppression. You are not being buried. You are being planted. And what grows in silence carries strength the world cannot comprehend. There is a sacred discomfort that only the chosen understand. The ache of being ready, but not yet released. You can feel it in your chest, like a pulse that doesn't match the rhythm of the world around you. You wake up feeling called, but your environment looks the same. You pray with fire, but the doors remain shut. You're carrying something holy, something alive, and yet everything around you feels paused, suspended in divine tension. And that's not by accident, because what you're carrying is not common. It cannot be rushed. It must be sealed in reverence, not leaked in desperation. Heaven is not just preparing your blessing, it's preparing you to carry it. The delay you feel is not a denial. It's the mercy of God holding back the floodgates until your spirit can steward the overflow. And while others rise quickly on applause and exposure, your rise is forged in private, in discipline, in obscurity, in the unseen hours of obedience that no one claps for. You are not behind, you are being refined. The weight of your destiny is shaping the posture of your soul, stripping you of pride, urgency, and any addiction to visibility. This silence is sacred ground, and every moment you endure it without breaking is a spiritual victory. Comment below. Have you ever felt this sacred pause, that deep knowing you're meant for something greater, but heaven keeps saying not yet? Your story could help someone else feel less alone in their waiting. Not everyone deserves to witness the seed before it becomes a tree. Not everyone clapping for you carries clean hands or a pure heart. And the sooner you realize that, the safer your promise becomes. Many of your delays were not caused by a lack of faith, but by an abundance of exposure. You spoke too soon. You posted too early. You shared too much with people who wore smiles but carried swords in the spirit. And what happened? Resistance. Confusion. Suddenly, doors that seemed open began to creak shut. Not because you were out of alignment, but because your revelation wasn't meant to be laid bare before it was crowned. The chosen are not called to impress. They are called to impact. And there's a holy distinction between the two. God is not punishing you with silence. He is cloaking you in strategy. He is shielding your promise from sabotage. Because hell studies patterns. The enemy is not omniscient, but he is observant. He watches what you post. He listens when you speak. He plants attacks based on what you expose. This is why heaven has gone quiet. Not to ignore you, but to cover you. You don't owe anyone your process. Your blueprint is not public property. Some glories are only safe when hidden in the shadows of obedience. And what grows there can't be uprooted by gossip, jealousy, or spiritual manipulation. Silence is not your weakness. It is your weapon. And while the world misinterprets your stillness as doubt, heaven knows it as discipline. You are not ignoring your purpose. You are guarding it. Because in this season, spiritual maturity is not defined by how loudly you speak, but by how precisely you move. The real chosen ones are not impulsive. They are instructed. They don't need applause to validate their path. They need confirmation from the throne. Many are seeking platforms, but God is building altars. And only those who know how to weep in private will carry the authority to lead in public. Some of you were attacked not because of what you did, but because of what you revealed too early. The dream was real. The vision was divine. But the timing was sacred. And now God is rebuilding your sense of rhythm, not by rushing, but by refining. Not by shouting, but by sharpening you in silence. This isn't a setback, it's strategy. Because when the trumpet sounds and heaven says now, no demon in hell will be able to stop what was cultivated in the shadows. Let the silence shape you. Let the stillness mature you. Let the quiet become your covering. Your next elevation won't come from exposure. It will come from obedience. The reason why no one sees your full potential yet is because God is hiding it on purpose, not because you are not ready, but because the world is not worthy. Heaven does not rush what is holy, and what he's building inside you was never meant to be exposed to casual eyes. You are being concealed, not because you've been forgotten, but because you are too powerful to be revealed unfinished. There is a divine camouflage over your life. You blend in with the crowd, yet carry a fire they can't explain. You look ordinary, but what's moving within you is not of this world. And those who misjudge you by appearance have no idea they are standing next to a weapon forged in the breath of God. The spotlight feels tempting. The desire to be seen can feel overwhelming. But God is not preparing you for fame. He is preparing you for legacy, for impact, for unshakable authority that does not need performance to be powerful. And so he hides you in places that feel lonely, in assignments that seem unnoticed. But in those shadows, something divine is forming, something too radiant to be revealed. Prematurely, let the camouflage remain. Let the silence speak. Because when the time comes, you won't need to prove yourself. The oil on your life will do all the speaking. The enemy is not confused about who you are, only you are. Hell doesn't waste resources on people with no potential. It targets the ones who carry blueprints from heaven, seeds of change, weapons of light disguised in human form. That's why you feel pressure even when you're still. That's why the attacks don't wait until you rise. They come while you're still building. Because the threat isn't what you've already done. It's what you're about to do. Every delay, every rejection, every closed door. They're not evidence of God's absence. They are evidence of your spiritual weight. The resistance is a mirror, showing you just how much heaven has deposited in your life. But here's the truth. The enemy hopes you never realize. You're not under attack because you're failing. You're under attack because you're aligning. Because your thoughts have shifted. Your energy has changed. Your discernment is awakening. And that makes you dangerous. So don't shrink. Don't retreat. Every hit you've taken is proof that you're shaking the spirit realm. Your silence is strategic. Your obedience is warfare. Your resistance is sacred. And your breakthrough is closer than it feels. In a world addicted to noise, to updates, to visibility, your silence looks like a void. But in the spirit realm, it roars with authority. Heaven doesn't measure your progress by how loud you are. It measures your alignment. Every time you choose not to post, not to explain, not to perform, you are declaring in the spirit, I trust the process more than I crave attention. And that posture, chosen one, terrifies the darkness. Obedience is not glamorous. It doesn't trend. It doesn't collect applause, but it births the impossible. Your refusal to reveal prematurely is not weakness, it's wisdom. God is sculpting something within you so holy, so precise, that it cannot be exposed to polluted eyes or reckless words. And here is where the mystery deepens. Heaven hides its greatest weapons in plain sight. Not to confuse you, but to prepare you. So if you've felt overlooked, underestimated, or dismissed, rejoice. That's confirmation. God is not ignoring you. He is refining you, so that when He finally reveals you, nothing and no one will be able to undo what He has set in. Motion, hold your silence like a sword, because in the stillness, your power is growing. Chosen one, not everyone who walks with you was meant to witness your rise. Some people were only assigned to your past, not your future. And the longer you drag them into places where they don't belong, the heavier your journey becomes. God is making a divine distinction in your life, not out of cruelty, but clarity. You've been surrounded by familiar faces who no longer fit your frequency. People you once trusted, prayed with, laughed with, now feel like static in your spirit. That dissonance is not accidental. It's God creating tension to expose misalignment. You see, in this next season, your oil must be protected, and oil can't be placed in the hands of those who only want to profit from your glow. The applause of the wrong people has been delaying the arrival of the right ones. Your destiny doesn't need cheerleaders. It needs gatekeepers, those who guard your vision, not gossip about it, those who intercede when no one is looking. This pruning season is sacred. Let God cut. Let Him disconnect. Not everyone was designed to carry the weight of your calling. You are being positioned for intimacy, not popularity, for impact, not performance. And here's the truth. The warfare you're facing isn't always demonic. Sometimes it's the consequence of refusing to let go. But once you do, what felt like chaos will shift into clarity. The silence will become strategy. The loss will become liberation. You were excited. You felt the shift. You sensed the breakthrough coming, so you shared it, you posted it, you announced it, and then silence, delay, opposition, confusion. What happened? Chosen one, this is the cost of exposure without instruction. God never told you to make it public. He asked you to trust Him with it. Some blessings aren't supposed to be declared. They're meant to be developed in silence. Every time you reveal what is still being refined, you place your promise in the line of fire. The enemy doesn't need to know your journal when he can study your timeline. The devil doesn't need prophecy when you're broadcasting every divine download before it's protected in prayer. What you thought was just excitement was actually spiritual vulnerability. And now the backlash isn't proof that the vision was false. It's proof that it was spoken too soon. God operates in divine timing, not emotional impulse. Just because you're ready to tell it doesn't mean heaven is ready to reveal it. Some fruits rot when harvested early. And your vision, chosen one, is too sacred to be rushed. The silence you're feeling now, that's not punishment. It's God preserving what He's building in you. And when it's time, when the anointing is undeniable, when the foundation is firm, when the warfare cannot stop it, then and only then will He unveil what He's groan in the dark, chosen one. The frustration you feel is not because God has forgotten you. It's because he's fortifying you. You're not behind. You're being held back for a reason that heaven refuses to rush. You see the spotlight and think that's the sign you're ready. But heaven sees something deeper. The places in your soul still healing, still anchoring, still learning the rhythm of divine silence. This is not delay. This is training. Every second you remain hidden, you're gaining spiritual muscle. Not the kind that wins applause, but the kind that withstands pressure. You are being shaped to carry weight, not to chase waves, to lead without needing to be liked, to build without needing to be seen. Because the next level is not about followers, it's about foundations. This quiet place you hate is the very soil where your purpose is being rooted. And when God finally lifts the veil, what you birth will not need promotion. It will carry glory, and glory cannot be imitated. Heaven is protecting you from self-sabotage disguised as opportunity. God is pruning your appetite for validation, so your identity is no longer attached to performance. You're not being buried. You're being planted, and soon what has grown in darkness will be undeniable in the light. There's a strange kind of loneliness that hits you when you're chosen, not because you're unloved, but because you're unseen, not by God, but by the world. And that invisibility isn't accidental, it's divine. God is not punishing you. He's concealing you. Not because you're not ready to walk, but because the path around you is still infested with spirits that are not aligned with your destiny. If he were to unveil you now, too many hands would try to shape you, too many voices would attempt to guide you, and too many eyes would distort what's sacred within you. So instead, he wraps you in silence. He places veils over your potential. He lets people overlook your presence, all while building something inside you that cannot be touched by their opinions. He removes those who clap out of convenience and brings those who guard in covenant. You are not being ignored. You are being sanctified. There is oil on your life that is not for public display, yet. And the weight of that oil would crush you if it were poured out before your vessel was fortified. So don't resent the quiet. Don't curse the shadows. The deeper the concealment, the greater the revealing. God is not hiding you because you are weak. He is hiding you because your anointing is not common. And rare oil demands sacred handling. There are betrayals that feel like death, not because of the act itself, but because of the sacred place from which you trusted. You opened your heart, you exposed your vision, you let someone in. And they turned the keys of access into weapons of sabotage. But even in the deepest ache of that betrayal, there is a higher truth waiting to be seen. What feels like rejection is often redirection. What feels like abandonment is sometimes divine evacuation. Because not every person you trust is assigned to carry your destiny. Some were only there to reveal where your boundaries were bleeding. And when the knife was placed in your back, it carved something out of you. The illusion that everyone clapping was cheering, the false belief that loyalty always wears a familiar face. No, chosen one. Some of your deepest wounds were never to break you. They were to clean you. They were divine surgeries that removed from your spirit the people, the attachments, the addictions to being liked. You were never supposed to be popular. You were supposed to be purified. And for that, betrayal had to come wrapped in love. Smiling, trustworthy, familiar. Because only that kind of intimacy could reach deep enough to break what had to be broken. But here's the mystery. What shattered you is now shaping you. The silence after the betrayal isn't emptiness. It's sacred space. Space where God begins to pour new oil, new strength, new wisdom. You're not bleeding anymore, you're birthing. The version of you that allowed too many in is being replaced with a version that hears God before they hear opinions. The version that overshared is being replaced by a warrior who understands the value of discretion. And even now, heaven is restoring what they tried to destroy, not in front of them, but behind closed doors where your crown is being reforged in fire. This pain is not punishment, it's purification. And soon, the very people who dismissed, you will wonder how the one they broke became unbreakable. There's a reason you still feel invisible. A reason why, despite your preparation, your fasting, your consecration, your hunger for more, the doors still haven't opened the way you imagined. It's not because you're unworthy, It's not because your time won't come. It's because you're still cloaked, hidden by heaven on purpose. You are in divine camouflage, not because you're behind, but because your essence is too powerful to be revealed unfinished. And the world, in its haste to crown anything visible, cannot yet handle the weight of what you carry. Look around. There are those with platforms and popularity but no oil, noise without weight, light without fire. And here you are, burning in secret, being refined in silence. Because God knows that real anointing must be concealed until the vessel is strong enough to hold it without leaking. You're not being overlooked, you're being covered. You're being fortified in the dark where distractions cannot reach. You where applause cannot dilute you, where pride cannot grow. This concealment is protection. It's God saying, not yet. Let me finish shaping the foundation so that when you rise, you won't collapse. Because what's being built in you isn't a moment, it's a movement. You were never meant to fit in quickly. You were meant to outlast trends. You weren't called to impress. You were chosen to impact. And for that, the process must be sacred, quiet, consecrated. So when you feel hidden, don't complain. Celebrate. You're in divine hands, covered in silence, wrapped in purpose, sealed with oil. And when the curtain finally lifts, the world won't just see you, it will feel the weight of the glory you've been carrying all along. Chosen one, if you've made it this far, understand? This wasn't just a message. It was a mantle being placed over your spirit. What you've been feeling is not confusion, it's calibration. Heaven has been adjusting your posture, your perspective, and your pace for what's about to unfold. The delay was not a denial. It was divine design. Because what God is doing through you is not for entertainment. It is for eternity. The silence you've been enduring has not been wasted. Every moment in obscurity was an anointing being deepened. Every season in the shadows was God sculpting a version of you that could stand when the lights finally find you. And make no mistake, those lights are coming. But they will not define you. Because by then, your character will have been chiseled by fire, and your spirit will know who truly authored your story. You don't need applause to validate your anointing. You don't need attention to activate your assignment. What you need is obedience. Obedience to stay silent when it's easier to shout. Obedience to stay hidden when your soul craves visibility. Obedience to wait on God's now instead of rushing ahead with your own "I'm ready." Let this be your sacred vow today. You will not move without the wind of heaven. You will not speak without the breath of God. You will not expose what heaven is still incubating, because the miracle, the breakthrough, the awakening you've been praying for, it's not far. It's forming. And when it arrives, it won't need hashtags, platforms, or applause. It will speak for itself. Heaven will announce it. Angels will guard it, and no force in hell will be able to abort it. So now, I invite you to seal this in the Spirit with a simple declaration. Comment below, "I am hidden for His glory." Let that be your testimony in the waiting. Let that be your shield in the silence. And if this word resonated deeply with your spirit, subscribe now so you don't miss the next divine whisper meant only for the chosen. Stay consecrated. Stay aligned. Stay listening. Heaven is not silent, it's just strategic. And your season of unveiling is closer than you think.